Are you there, dog? It's me, Kerry. Now, I'm not going to infantilize you by explaining to you the pun that is the title of this podcast. Some of you will know and understand what I am referencing, and for those of you that don't, go forth and Google it. Now, that's the only time I'm going to tell you to go and Google anything, because most of the time, when it comes to dogs, Google is not your best friend. Google is not your best friend when it comes to learning things about your dog or getting tips and advice. Trust me. Every now and then I do a little Google of a common question that comes up just to see what Google, etc. tells us. So I Googled, how do I stop my dog barking? Sure enough, one of the first results that came up was to use a bark collar or a citronella collar, etc. Hideous things. And I'll talk about that in more depth at other times. But it just goes to show that you can't trust Google. You can't trust Google. Can't trust people. What is that quote from Peep Show? Can't trust people. People like Coldplay and they voted for the Nazis. True story when it comes to dogs as well. You need to be really picky about where you get your information from. The fact that you are listening to this podcast, you have an eye for quality, my friend. You have an eye, or maybe an ear for quality. I am kinder on the ear than on the eye. So what do you need to know about me? My name is Kerry. I have a business called Howl School for Dogs. I don't actually like the name of my company. I don't like the idea of it being school for dogs, as though it's the dogs that are the ones doing the learning. But hey-ho, here we are. Can't bother to change it now. I used to be a teacher. That's why I came up with the idea of calling it Howl School for Dogs. I thought howl would look good as a single word, and it was a reference to Ginsberg's poem, Howl, because I'm insecure and want people to know that I'm well read. So here we are. I have ADHD. I was diagnosed 10 years ago. You may find that I flit about from time to time. I also am very sensitive about injustice, which is why I think, I fight for the dogs so much. So, at times this podcast might veer off at a tangent. Join me. Enjoy the ride. We'll have fun. So, yeah, my business is all about helping people to reframe the way that they see dogs and their relationship with dogs, kind of moving away from old-fashioned ideas of obedience and commands, and instead looking to listening to our dogs, understanding what their species-specific needs are, and also their breed-specific needs, but also understanding things that work for them and things that don't work for them, and understanding that the doggy dollar, the amount of money that can be made off of dogs in the world is huge, but it doesn't always benefit dogs. Now, I know what you're thinking, well, you earn money being a dog trainer, and you earn, well, I don't earn any money doing this. True, it's true, but I don't exploit dogs. Everything I do is to help dogs, but there are a lot of ways in the world where, things are dog friendly, etc., where people are trying to just make money off the fact that the world is filled with a lot of dog lovers. So yeah, I might rant in this. I'm also going to talk about things that are really good for dogs as well. Things that, A+ dog guardianship that I see out and about. I'll talk about things that I don't like seeing, and I'll explain why. And it's really important to note that I'm going to be punching up at times. I don't want to punch down. I'm not going to be picking on dog guardians for the things that they do, but I will be picking on dog professionals who are out there in this unregulated industry talking absolute bollocks a lot of the time. So we'll be talking about that. Caesar Milan, I hope you're listening. I'll be looking into people that have a platform on TV and the things they do with that when it comes to dogs. You'll notice I talk a lot about the things that I see regarding dogs in films as well. So I think that can be very interesting. And adverts and just dogs in culture, full stop. I'm going to be having some interesting guests come on and talk about dogs. Different kinds of things. This is a saturated market, so I am going to try and use interesting angles to approach this. I hope it's entertaining. And I'm only going to record this if it entertains me to record it as well. I absolutely don't want to record something that is boring to record or that bores me when I'm editing it. Ideally, this doesn't require any editing. I don't want to edit. I don't want to edit anything. I was the girl at university that would write the essays and then not read them through, and just hand them in, because I don't want to check over my work. Interestingly, when I'm working with a dog, I will go into great detail and I'll be, extremely aware of the tiny things, the tiny details, and I don't let things go. But when it comes to my own stuff, like the stuff that I write, the stuff that I record, etc., I don't afford myself that same luxury. I haven't got the time to go over it, because if I go over it, I'm going to hear things that need changing, and then that means I've got to do more work. I don't want to do that. Did I mention I have ADHD? So since I mentioned dogs in culture and dogs in films, here's a question. Does anyone else do this? You see something that's got a dog in it and you're like, do you know what? Switch it off. Switch it off. It's going to have some stressed out dog that doesn't want to be on set, doesn't want to be there. I'm going to hate it. Get rid of it. It's going to have the dog walking around on laminate flooring. I can't bear to see it. Is it Pamela Anderson? Yes, it is Pamela Anderson, I believe, that having acted in films and TV shows which featured animals, she had it written into her contract, that, or whatever it is that actors have, that she won't appear in anything that has real life animals in it, only CGI animals, because she didn't like the way that they were cared for on set, or rather not cared for. So I always liked that about her. I don't know what she's like as a dog guardian. Maybe we'll get her on here and she can talk about it. But yeah, I always enjoyed that aspect of Pammy. Well done, Pammy. Oh God, though, I don't know much about her politics. Need to check that. I can't have anyone coming on that's problematic. Because this isn't a show for me to get into that side of thing. I mean, it's going to come up at times, I'm sure, but I don't want to go into a conversation with somebody that, I don't know, is a Zionist or something like that, because this isn't that show, all right? It's not that show. This is about the dogs. But then, saying that, I have to go with what interests me at times. So, maybe sometimes it will get a bit political. Who knows? Who could say? One thing that I promise is that I will always be honest and unfiltered, and not in that kind of, oh my God, I'm so unfiltered and zany, but just honestly, I'm not really one for lying or corporate spin, anything icky like that. So, yeah. I think that's all you really need to know. Oh my God, I totally forgot about the main event. I will from time to time reference Norma. Norma is my dog, my bestie, the love of my life, my one true love. She is a 10-year-old Yorkie crossed with a Maltese. I adopted her from Battersea Dogs Home in London 5 years ago. She's a really interesting dog. She's bomb-proof outside, absolutely bomb-proof. She doesn't care about anything. She's bold, she's fearless, she's adventurous, she's fun, she's chill. She's just brilliant. I could eat her, but I won't. But inside, she's a different dog. Inside, she can be a little bit more nervous. Not with me so much. Like, she loves to have a snuggle. But she, for example, doesn't like it if another dog comes into her home. She gets quite scared. And I think that's a throwback to her old life when she lived in a house with another dog, and the two of the dogs didn't go out on any walks. So she definitely has some trauma there. And other little nuances that I'll talk about at different points in the podcast. She's an interesting dog, definitely. So that's my Normatron, Normcore. Yeah, I think really I'm rambling now. I'm going to cut a lot of this out in the editing, because even though I don't want to edit, I have to. I must. You need that. You deserve me to edit this podcast. It's going to happen. But yeah, this is just a little intro anyway, to let you know what to expect. And really, I can't really tell you too much, because that would imply that I planned this, and I haven't. So welcome. Strap in.